Oh, it didn't come on. Hello, everybody. I don't. Let me look and see. Do we have anybody in yet?
It don't
Did
look
y'all
like it.
really come?
Not
Did
yet. I'll
everybody
share out. Oh,
come
can I
back
share
up?
out? I'm
I'm
on my
going to
phone.
share out as well. I'm going to do what Sister Drew's.
I'm on my
Oh,
phone. I need to grab my
okay.
laptop. It's behind
She.
me.
Okay, we'll give it a minute, or we'll give it a minute, and then we'll introduce ourselves, so at least a couple people can come in. So if anybody comes in and watches the replay, um, Sister Drew and Sister Sherry is going to share out. I did on our chat on our group, and then on the Facebook, but nobody ever
A lot of
watches it on
people
my
wait till you go
Facebook.
live and then they come in.
Yeah.
Oh, that's out of charge.
I know sometimes I don't get the notification until a couple minutes in, usually.
And that's
Yeah.
normally because Drew was sending them out for us.
Yeah, I've already sent them out in the group and things, I think, today. Because I was sleeping, I had a nap, guys. I had a nap for half an hour before we went live.
So while Sherry is sending out the notifications, Drew, in case we get some people in that are not familiar with us, would you like to tell about yourself?
Yeah, sure. My name is Drew. I'm from Drew's Abandoned Paranormal Vlog, sorry. I do also run Broomsticks and Pentagrams Witchy Shop. It will be on Facebook, getting revamped just shortly, a couple of days, and it'll be up and running. I also do work with Ghost Squad Scotland, which is Christopher and Alan. We go around old locations in Scotland. We were at one today, guys, and it's very interesting. So check out my channel, Drew's Abandoned Paranormal, and check out Ghost Squad Scotland for live ghost hunts and things. I can hear the birdies.
Can you hear them?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you froze? Oh, I knew she was froze there. I could, because she didn't speak straight away. She'll be back in, guys. She'll just be re-entering. You want to tell them a bit about yourself, Sherry, while she comes back in? You hear me, sis? Maybe because I think she's having
Hello.
technical.
Sorry, I'm just sharing out.
That's
So
okay.
I'm
We'll wait
Sherry
on you.
from PWI Spiritual Investigators, also known as Paranormal World Investigators. Obviously, guys, you know that I am a witch and I'm a practicing Celtic Druid shaman. I also am an investigator of all things strange and unknown, especially paranormal and UFOs, and I am known as a starseed, so I communicate with extraterrestrial. So this is a really good show. If you really like strange women and you like our channels, please come over and check our channels out. You might find something you like, guys.
Yeah, definitely. I think Mystical must be having problems.
Yeah,
She'll
so
be
I
back
noticed she was
on.
jumping in and out a minute ago. I'll be back on as soon as it finishes restarting.
Oh,
That's what
she's
she's
had
just
to
writing the room.
revamp her computer.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll better
Hello,
wait and
Kim.
wait for coming back in. Welcome in, everybody. We'll wait on
Please
Mystical
share out.
coming back in before we introduce Stephanie, guys. Most
Please
of you will
share
know
out, guys.
Stephanie from the chat.
If you guys see me look away, I'm just having to throw the ball for the dog. She's outside with me.
Good,
Oh,
good.
bless.
I'd love to have a swing on a porch. I would sit there all day just reading.
I love it in
I
the
would.
evening. Shades over and it's really nice.
Yeah,
And
I bet it is.
I hear it just in the evening.
Where did
I
you
bet
say
you
you were,
like that.
Stephanie?
I'm in Kentucky. I'm just a little bit north of Lexington.
Right.
But I'm from East Kentucky. And actually, where I'm from then is a little under 2 hours from where Mystical lives. And
Right.
now where I live is about 3 hours from where Mystical lives. So,
Right, that's not too bad.
no, it's not at all.
It's funny how there's
Sister
always that
Mystical
area
said
that's
this,
strange.
that
things.
Mystical said you can start if you want to, sis. She'll just join in when she can get back up when it's finished. She
All
goes,
right,
just
okay.
start.
Oh, that's no problem. So, Stephanie, do you want to tell the guys the reason that we wanted to talk to you? And
Yeah,
introduce yourself a little.
I made the comment in one of the lives that I had some pretty good Bigfoot stories, which I
Yeah.
do. Mystical can tell you, us living in the Appalachian Mountains, they are very, very, there's a lot of strange stuff going on. I mean, there always has been. Where I grew up is connected, actually, the hillside behind my house then is connected to a state park. So we had deer, we had bear, we had, you name it, we had it. It was there all the time. You just saw it. You were used to it. But there was, you would hear things sometimes that you didn't quite recognize, and you get used to all the sounds, and you know what the sounds are, and you see them quite a bit. But there were things that you just couldn't place, I guess, from, I would say, the earliest that I remember. I was about 9 or 10, and we lived beside my grandparents. So I had free reign to go back and forth from their house to my house, and that was what I did all the time. And I was outside playing in their yard one day and heard, the only thing that I can describe it as is, if you've all heard the Sierra sound recordings, I don't know if you have or not, the Bigfoot sounds that they...
Yeah, I've heard some sounds, yeah.
That is the only thing close that I can say that I can even place as to what I heard. And even now, talking about, like, the hair on the back of my neck stands up. I get chills talking. And I went in, got my grandfather. My grandfather was a veteran of 3 wars, so he did not scare easily. He was a very hard military, just straight-laced kind of guy. And I have to say, that's the only time that I've ever seen any kind of fear at all on his face at all. Went in and got him, brought him out, and I said, listen to this. And it was coming from the hillside behind our house. And it was just like a cross between a moan and a yell kind of thing. And he just looks at me and he says, go home. Which they never told me ever to go home. I could have lived there. And he says, go home. Actually, no, I'm going to walk you home, which was completely odd for that. And he took me in the house and looked at my dad, and he said, she needs to stay inside and not come back out until at least tomorrow. I'll let you know. And my dad kind of gives him this look.
Thank you, Sherry.
He says, do you need help? And my grandpa says, no, I think it'll be okay. And then he left, and they didn't let me back outside for 2 days after that. Like,
Wow.
every so often we would hear it. And they would say, oh, it's a deer. It's this, it's that. What about it? Go. That we're told to go in. Go. And it went on like that. It got her and got full and got part-time job. I would only as I,
Stephanie,
Yeah.
Start
Stephanie.
coming in and out.
Yeah, I was gonna ask, is that on y'all's end also where it's breaking up? We
Yeah.
have like around here we're having like spot pop up
Or
rain,
two.
but
yeah,
so
we're
that might be the issue.
pop up thunderstorms and stuff today. Yeah.
Yeah, it knocked my computer completely out, and it
No, it's
said
not your
error
computer.
restart.
Yeah, it's not
Okay, didn't mean to interrupt you. We didn't want to miss what you were saying because it was breaking up.
You're fine. So I would come home sometimes late at night after work and kind of hear, as I would get out of my car, something running up the hillside behind the house. But it didn't sound like a deer. It didn't sound like a bear. It didn't sound like anything normal. And it would move really fast. Like a couple seconds and it would be halfway up the hill. 30 seconds to 45 seconds at most, it would be at the top of the hill, but you could still hear
Wow.
through the brush. And whatever it was, you could tell was really, really big.
So
They're meant to be quite fast, aren't they?
people,
They are meant to be quite fast on their legs.
Yes.
if people's never really lived out in the mountains, out in the country, you learn what different sounds are when you hear them. You know it. You smell them. You know all this stuff. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, you know right away. If you it doesn't matter if it's there or not.
Mm-hmm.
You know. And so that would be when I would run for the house because I wasn't even.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
Whatever that was, because you could just tell it was whatever it was. And I would say it was my senior year, swimming pool out back. I was having a sleepover with a girl. We were out in the swimming pool. It was kind of late evening, I guess. And we start to hear rustling on the hill behind the house. And this is the hill that connects to the state park. So that's where all the animals would come from, basically. And we didn't think much about it at first, but the longer we were out there in the pool, the louder it got, the closer it got. And right about dark, we just kind of kept looking, but we wouldn't or try to ignore it, hoping whatever would go away. It started rushing down the hill.
Oh heck.
Never actually saw it because I can honestly say a bunch of girls never moved so fast in their life to get in.
Didn't hang around to see it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we weren't hanging around to see what it was exactly, but we would always find huge footprints, especially after we would find footprints. Things would go up all the time. Random things from outside. We had animals outside that would disappear. And what really, really struck me was I remember Mike talking about this apple tree that he had.
Yeah.
Disappear. We had about halfway up on the hillside an Asian pear tree, really old. If you really wanted stuff to start acting up, you went and got a pear off that pear tree.
Right.
When the pears would start to get ripe, they would be there one day and gone the next. But if you really wanted to experience some weird stuff, you would go pick a pear off that tree. I guarantee that night or early the next morning, you would have things.
Wow.
Stuff in the house, things would be from the window, all kinds. And our kitchen window faced that hillside. So, especially at night, we would close the curtain because you couldn't walk into
Case.
feeling like somebody was looking at you and watching you. You never saw it. And that's when we footprint. I think
It's coming in and out again.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
I was noticing that.
I just got a notification for lightning pretty close. Yeah.
Okay. Don't get hit by lightning outside.
I won't.
Yeah, I don't want everybody to see that on my video. That wouldn't be good.
Especially
Wouldn't be
not
good for
one.
you either. Yeah.
But people knows. I mean, if you live in those mountains, like there are weird.
Yeah, the Appalachian Mountains are known for a lot of Bigfoot reports.
Yes.
Yeah.
A lot of them.
The same smell as well. Did you ever smell anything?
Yeah. Oh yeah. There would be times when you would. It was almost like a rotting kind of smell, like a really not even like worse than a skunk kind of smell.
Yeah.
It was. If you like, I haven't smelled it in a while because I haven't been back there at night in a while, but it's a smell that once you smell, you know,
Never
you'll
forget that.
Yeah. Because even we stepped out on the porch just a few days ago, and Lee was like, God, what is that smell? And I said, is that the skunk? And knowing it wasn't a skunk, I was like, is that a skunk almost? Like, what the hell is it, you know? He's like,
yeah,
that's not a skunk. Get back in the house. So we came back in really quick because it was a smell we were not familiar with.
yeah.
Yeah.
The scariest one I had, I had just graduated high school, and I came home late one night after I got off work, and we had an outbuilding out back, and I had some outdoor cats because, of course, we had field mice and everything else. So they
Hmm.
kind of used that outbuilding as like their little house. So we kept food and water out there for them. And as I'm walking across the back deck, we would leave the outbuilding door kind of halfway open, and I hear something move on the other side of the door. And I'm like, oh, okay. Because it sounded big. It
Right.
didn't get, so I start walking a little faster to get to the back door. And as I get to the back door and I open up the door to go in, and the light from inside the house shines out, whatever it was ran as fast as it could up the hillside.
Wow.
I never actually saw it,
Uh-huh.
but
You can hear it.
within seconds, it was from the bottom of the hill to the top of the hill, and you could hear it go across the ridge line. And it was just,
And it's hard. It's hard running up a hill, guys.
yeah,
You
No,
don't
yeah.
run real fast up a hill.
in the dark.
Exactly, yeah.
I mean, it was probably like 11:30 or so at night. It was late, so it was in the dark as well.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
I never actually, you couldn't, never saw it.
That's
Do you
really,
know
really
anybody
bad
that's ever did see it?
interference. Really bad
Yeah.
interference.
Do you know anybody that did see it?
I think my grandfather did.
Yeah.
Because he would just, when he heard the sound and things, he had this look like he knew.
Right.
He never talked about it. Like,
Right.
He
Nobody
knew-
scared us.
yeah, he never talked about it. He would just, he was always the one who would say, go inside. I'll tell you when you can come back outside.
Makes you wonder why people never ever wanted to talk about it, isn't it? Is it because people didn't get believed?
Well,
I
yeah,
think-
the older people, they were afraid of getting, called crazy and everything.
Yeah.
Us younger generation, we don't care. We'll blurt it out. I saw a Bigfoot.
Yeah. Yeah.
He knew, and we had another, I know Mystical probably deals with this, has heard about this too, living where she does. The Black Panthers.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Fish and Wildlife will say no.
Oh, what did I hit?
I was going to
They'll-
say you've gone big, sis.
I
Just
hit
go
on
to the
this,
Yeah, that's you.
There, okay.
They no, they don't exist. They are.
I know.
We had one. I was 7-ish. One morning, laying in our front yard. It was probably a good 5-6 foot long, solid black, shiny black, and I remember it like vividly to this day because I just light shining off of its fur, and it almost sparkled. It was
Right.
so black.
Mm-hmm.
And my grandfather actually, he was a military sharpshooter.
Right.
So he got his gun and he fired over its head. And the thing jumped up out of the yard, jumped our creek, crossed the road, and was gone within seconds.
Wow.
He calls the Fish and Wildlife because it ran over into the state park territory to tell them. And of course, they know you saw a house cat. He said, if this was a house cat,
Yeah,
I
no,
don't-
they've been sightings here also with Black
Yeah.
Panther, yeah.
and they
Yeah.
were, no, it doesn't exist. It doesn't exist. And then one of the rangers actually came out because it left paw prints in the dirt on the creek bank, and they
Right.
were probably twice the size of your hand.
Wow.
So the ranger was just like, I don't know what this is. And my grandfather's, I'll tell you exactly what it was. It was a panther. It was a black panther. Well, if you shot at it, why didn't you kill it? And my grandfather he was very straight laced, and he would just tell you how it was. And he said, well, I didn't kill it because I know if I had have killed it, y'all would have come and locked me up.
Well, it's an endangered species.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He said,
Yeah.
killing it. So,
Yeah.
you know.
See, and that's why my husband always he gets mad at me when I go walking in the woods and stuff by myself, because I've gone way back in there before by myself, and he gets upset with me, and he's like, "You're gonna get eaten, and nobody's ever gonna know where you're at." I'm like, "If I get eaten, I won't even know where I'm at."
I
I'm
know.
belly of something, but we've even taken a picture of, okay, you know how grizzlies have the big humps on its back and black bears don't? There's not supposed to be any grizzlies in this area. We took our trail camera took a picture one toward the back side of our property, and he sent it to the rangers and stuff around here, and they said, "Where was this taken at?" And Lee was like, "In my backyard." And he said, "Well, we're not supposed to have grizzlies, but this has got to be like a crossbreed or something, because it wasn't a brown bear, wasn't a black bear." Yeah, because you could clearly see it where it was like that. The hump was up here, and the head was, down here. Because at first I was like, "Where's the head? Where's the head?" Because I was thinking it was missing, but no, you could see the head down here where it was coming up out of the creek, and the trail camera snapped the picture of it. So there's things around that they say is not here, and they're here.
Breeding, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I swear I will go to my grave. That was a black panther. I remember it. I saw it
Paradox.
myself.
Well, come on.
There's no other. It was not a house. It wasn't any.
I think you would know the difference between a house cat and a panther.
Yeah.
Oh, huge difference. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Bobcats and things. We do have bobcats and things, but
Yeah.
We got mountain lions here too.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's what I always say. Sometimes I'll sell something on Etsy, and it's real late at night, and they're like, "Well, can you tell me what the measurements are of it, or does it have this, or does this have that?" And I'm like, "It's in my storage building. It's late at night. There's things that can eat me. I'll look tomorrow, and I'll get back with you." That's what I tell them.
It's the truth.
It's yeah. You don't go out at night like that. No.
So do you believe that the Bigfoot are coming through portals then, or do you believe they're there in the hills all the time? Just hiding?
I don't.
Both. I believe both.
I think they're. I do. I think they're both. I think they may use the portals to move. And move around, but I think they're there, and I think they're only want to really be seen, because I know that night, I mean, we had outdoor lights, and you didn't even see a shadow, but it probably wasn't 2 to 3 feet from me, and you saw a shadow move. You could just hear it,
right?
And so I think they only just, if they want to be seen, they will, and if they don't,
they've maybe got cloaking mechanisms, the same as what some aliens have, that they cloak themselves.
I think so. I really do.
See, I believe that there's 3 different kind of species of the, Bigfoot.
The camera off to smoke guy.
Okay, the ones that they spot, and they're leaning over, eating deer and stuff, like a wild crazy man. I believe that's one species, like the wild species. I believe there's another species that can also come through. Now, that can come through the portals, but I believe the second species stays here in caves, because we have a lot of caves.
Interdimensional beings.
Yeah, and then the third one is more advanced, and they're able to just go wherever that they want to go. So I believe that there's 3 different species of them. That's my belief.
I think that's too. And I think that one that I think I kind of spooked it. It wasn't expecting it and just was busy. We ate the cat food that we had outside for the outdoor cat. And I think that when I came home and started walking across the deck that night, it scared it and spooked it, and that was it.
Yeah. Yeah, 'cause a lot
Yeah.
of people report their animals being missing and livestock and stuff. I mean, I've not seen. I've heard of people living in the Kentucky area, Virginia area, Tennessee area that has said that they've been out because this is a hunting place. I realize that, like Drew and Sherry, y'all don't have guns and stuff like that like we have freely here. So we have a lot of hunters in our area, and the hunters will say that they've even seen, like a big hairy creature that, looks
Yeah.
like Bigfoot with a deer under their arm carrying it off.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A full size, full grown deer, not even a.
Yes.
But there's a lot that's said about them, though, isn't there, as well? Like, they do believe that some of them are interdimensional. Like, I remember my pups talking about a show that I think it was me and Sister Drew was on, and he was saying that he see one that was going up the mountain, and it suddenly just disappeared, like it went into some sort of doorway or something.
Yeah.
And he'd had another experience where he see it, and then like he see an animal that goes across like a caravan roofing, and he's followed this footprint. Suddenly, it's turned it into like massive big feet, and it's
That's
disappeared.
right.
from
I
nowhere.
hadn't disappeared.
So I do believe that they shapeshift. I do believe they go in and out through passages, which is maybe why you don't get to see them very often.
Yeah.
I believe those are the third one, the real advanced ones.
Yeah, the interdimensional beings. Yeah.
And I think we had multiple. I think we had different ones on the hill.
Yeah, there is. Yeah.
And I really think too, it depends on the season.
Right.
Because the moaning, yelling, whatever it was that I heard and that we would hear that a lot in the spring. But
Breeding season, probably.
the actual like running on the hillside or charging at you down the hillside or running back up the hillside and being down close to the house, that always seemed to happen late summer and into the fall.
Well,
Like
protecting
That was
something
around the
from
time
the
I had my
baby's born.
yeah,
Because I had a similar experience with that.
so that's what I
And,
think. I think we had more. I think we had different types, and I think depending on the season, I almost think they do like they migrate in a way.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Probably.
they probably do.
Just like other animals do.
Because they will lose their fur, and then like they'll lose their fur in the summer, and then they'll not lose it, but it'll get shorter, and then it'll get thicker in the winter. Because I had a similar experience, like when you're saying about they charged at you, could hear them charging at you and things like that. I remember being on an investigation in Sherwood Forest, and I was under this hut that I believe, even though I know it was built by people, I think like some sort of energy formed a home in there, and I do believe it's a Bigfoot because. I remember going through the forest with him, and we heard this. It sounded like a scream, but not a scream. It was really weird. We heard that, and then I heard something like something really big charging up on top of this thing that I was sitting under, and it went bang straight on the top of it. It made me fly out from underneath it.
Oh yeah.
I was like, yeah, it was nuts. And when you turned around and looked, it wasn't there. It was gone. It was so quick.
That's a big dense forest.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's huge in Sherwood Forest, so they'd easily get lost. You know what I mean?
And that asked us what exactly did it sound like? What did you? It's like that. It's like a scream, but it's not a scream. It's kind of like a, but not.
A screamy roar.
It's really hard.
Roar.
It's really hard to really do it. Like the thing that I heard sounded like it was like a but it was like a it was like really it was really loud and really deep. Like I can't do any better than that. It was weird.
No. Really?
I just say they hoop and holler.
Hoop and holler. It's something that you'll never forget, put it that way.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
you're
I
like,
wouldn't
what
make a
the
very
hell
good
was
one
that?
That's why it's good to have trail cams, though, isn't it? Out your directions,
Yeah.
because you never know what you're going to catch.
Oh yeah, I have them pointed everywhere on my property, out from the house, every direction on my property line. If something comes
Yeah.
on my property line, I'm gonna know it.
Yeah. And see, my dad was a hunter. We had a bunch of caves on the hillside on our side behind the house, and I think they were in those caves. And
Yeah.
I went walking with him once, looking for tracks when I was little, and we walked that whole hillside, but he would come across a cave and he would say, "Yeah, don't
No.
go in there." But he never
There
really.
more than likely is in there.
Yeah. Probably goes
But
right
they're
deep
very
in.
good at camouflaging. So even if they were in there and you walked in there, you wouldn't see them because they're very good at hiding themselves. So you wouldn't be able to tell they're there. And
Oh,
that's
yeah.
Probably smell them, that'd be it.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's
They are
funny
really-
you say that about the seasons, isn't it? So as in the winter, is it tend to be quite quiet in the winter as if they migrated? Yeah.
Well,
Every once in a while, especially like after a big snow, we would
Uh-huh.
find a footprint here or there, but didn't really have a lot of activity in the winter. Not a lot. But you would find random footprints occasionally if we had had a
Yeah.
fungus snow on the ground or something afterward. But it was usually spring and then sort of late summer and into the fall that we had those about.
Makes
yeah,
sense.
because you got to think about it. Unless
They
it's
are
way
meat
in
eaters
the deep.
as well, with a question mark.
Yeah,
Are they meat eaters?
yeah.
Some,
yeah,
yeah.
that's why they get the
Definitely.
deer and your animals and
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
The
you
ocean
got to think
things.
about it. Unless they're way in the deep in the mountains where there's nobody around, then they're safe to stay there. The ones I think that will migrate is the ones more to the outer. Because think about it, in the winter, all
Yeah.
the leaves fall, and you
Yeah.
can see a long ways, especially if you're looking up a mountain or down a mountain. You can see a long way, so it would be harder for them to hide themselves unless they have the cloaking, which the
Yeah.
more advanced ones, do. But they would
They
be
could
seen
do,
more.
but they could hibernate as well, can't they?
Yeah.
But if they don't move on,
Well.
they'll probably hibernate and go underground or something, so they're not seen.
Oh,
So
the
they're, you know,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
bears hibernate. So.
Yeah. And the cave systems here are
yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think it would be a hibernating or something.
And I bet the bears are scared of them. Probably double the size of the bears, so they'll be scared of them.
so this whatever it was that I heard was so really close to me. Just from the it was
Yeah.
big bear. I've heard bears, seen bear. It was huge, and whatever it was, you could tell was walking on 2 feet. It was not running
Wow.
on 2 feet.
I couldn't imagine a bear sticking around long either, to be honest. If it's a meat eater
No.
as well, I'd probably pegged it. You know what I mean? Like, yeah,
Exactly.
you know.
Yeah.
And they do weird
Yeah.
things, and you
Welcome
notice, like
in,
I've seen like some of the
Diane,
shows.
Edward,
You see
Phoenix,
like
welcome
some of
in,
the
everybody.
shows to do with them and that, and it shows like how you can tell that you've got them in like your area. Like they make like certain breaks in certain parts of the branches which you can't explain, and you find
Yeah.
certain things like they make certain things with sticks in the tree that stick out, and if you
Yeah,
put
they
food
can-
high up, like it gets disappeared and the thing's been moved around. They even put like little signs on the floor, like they'll make things out of sticks and stones and that, like writing to you. Like if you know how to read it,
Yeah.
you know,
I
you know
remember
that it's their
Mike
language.
said not long before he died as
Mike said
well
a
that
lot of it.
there was something coming down the mountain, and I think it was his son and his daughter was having to tell him that there was something out there, and he kept going out and he did hear it. So that was probably a female Bigfoot or something, wasn't it?
Probably could have been.
Here's,
Yeah.
Here's
Very
a
well.
question for you, Stephanie. Do you have a channel?
I do. I don't have anything on it because I never really put anything on it. But
Okay.
I had told Drew when I go in again to take flowers to my dad's cemetery, I will make a video of the cemetery there because
Yeah,
he
it was cool.
is buried on top of a mountain, and mystical, you know how it how it is, but
Yeah.
the
Yeah,
cemetery
my
that
dad is buried on top of one of the mountains
yeah
on Newman Ridge. Do you know where
yeah
Newman Ridge is? My dad's buried up there, way up there, up
yeah
on Newman Ridge.
Wow.
right up at the very
Can you
top of
imagine being buried on a mountain? That'd be so cool.
That'd be cool, wouldn't it?
it
It would.
is, but then again
Hard for you to go visit. Yeah.
Yeah, the roads they get broke down, and you're trying to drive up, and if you don't have like a 4-wheel drive, you ain't gonna make it up there. And if you get up there and you
Yeah.
break down, then what?
and
How
this
do
one
the horses get up? Or do you tend to take your...
they parked for dad's. They had to park the road up, walk the way.
Right.
You had to
Wow.
you have to carry him the rest of the way. But up there where he is buried, the cemetery to it is called the relocation. And the lake that was at the lake that was at State Park, it was farmland and it
Right.
was houses. So in the 50s, when the lake and the state park was, they flooded that whole area, and this cemetery was all these smaller cemeteries that were there at the time. They moved the people up to the top of this mountain, and there's probably 200 people buried up there. Some with their markers that they originally had. Others, the markers didn't get to them. So
Right.
there's unmarked graves there. It's
Definitely do a video.
I will. It is a creepy.
Yeah. Did you read the message from Phoenix to you,
Oh yeah.
Stephanie?
Make sure
Okay.
Stephanie, when you
Yeah.
video explain
And
so we can
slowly.
so we can see
Spirits
the
around you.
spirits.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Extremely.
A lot of us see them, so it's really good when you go really slow because we can pick up on what they're doing and things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really
Yeah.
interesting thing, and I'm really dying to say this though. Tell us a little bit about your UFO experiences, because I know that I'm really into UFO stuff, and I know that other people are getting into it, and I'm dying to hear what it is about
Yeah.
UFOs and how you become connected.
Oh my! I've seen you lights in the sky. I mean, you live that. You've never really experienced dark until you've lived in that area.
Area.
Dark, and then there's that kind of dark. I mean, you know.
Pitch black.
Yeah, it's a pitch dark. That's the reason the other day when we were doing the pumpkins at night, and I was showing the dark because it's just a vast darkness. You can't see your hand in front of you.
Wow.
It's just pitch black. Something could be right there, and you wouldn't know it until you stick a
Yeah.
flashlight up. Yeah.
It's a bit like that over here because I live in like a countryside, so it's like really woodland, so it's really dark over here as well. So I see a lot of there's a lot of clear sky as well, and obviously
Loads of
I've had experiences with UFOs, and I've actually been an abductee as well. So I've actually physically been taken. So yeah,
I have, although
Breaking up again.
Yeah, it's annoying when it does that. It's always when she's telling us something,
I know it.
isn't it?
try and get
Some
that
done
energy.
water that spilled the beans. Keeps cutting her off. They're like,
I
"Go
will-
away, chickadee."
I went to bed early one night and I woke up a few hours later because I was really, really cold. That was what woke me. And I wasn't laying in the bed. I was laying in my floor beside the bed. But the bed, and I have no memory of anything. To my knowledge, I was asleep.
Wow.
But how I ended up where I was, and when I went to bed, I had socks on. When I woke up, I didn't have any socks on, and I never found the socks, like ever.
Wow.
Was I? I don't know. I I have no idea.
It sounds very strange because they do intend, like when they take you, like they do intend to remove your clothing to like look at you properly and things like that. Then normally they'll put your clothing back
Oh,
on, but
hey,
sometimes
honey.
they're known to put your clothes on back to front because they don't quite understand how
I
you
can
dress.
remember how they
All
left it and they
parts
took
of
them
your
off.
clothing's missing because they
You're
don't know how
probably
to put them
standing with
back
your
on
socks in their hand, like, where did these come from?
Oh,
Yeah,
Luckily they didn't put
and
them on your ears.
if they find like a piece of equipment or something that's too hard to put back on you, that they won't bother bringing you back with it. So maybe it sounds really peculiar.
Right.
Like, I can't say if you have or you haven't, but for the way that you were speaking about the dream and the weird things that happened to you, that
yeah, like I have
was,
no memory of it, but I
Oh
have.
wow. Did you see what Lee says? Hello everybody, I'm listening. Yes, aliens are real and UFOs because one night in 1993 I woke up inside one. That's all I'll say for now. Oh wow.
Yeah.
yeah.
He
Right,
And
remembers
I
okay.
do
everything
understand,
when
and
he
I can
was
relate to you
inside.
there, Lee. I
Yeah.
can relate to you because with my first experience, obviously I had experiences where I was seeing lights and stuff in the sky. I would see lights turning up at my door and taking me. I
Yeah.
wasn't really quite sure on what was going on. I remember at the time before I went into the group that I went into, I didn't really remember very much about my beginning of it. I only remember my experiences I had in later life, but I
Yeah.
come to remember that I'd seen my extraterrestrial family as a child. I just wouldn't recount it because of how young I was. But I remember having this experience where I was laying in my bed and I know that I was asleep and I see myself float out of myself and stand at the bottom. And there was this energy standing right next to me that was about 8 to 10 foot tall. And he was looking over me and he was very like human looking, very like white hair. And he was just like looking and he kept like touching my arm and that. Now there was marks left on my arm for where he touched my arm and he touched my throat. So I'd been having a lot of like problems with my throat. And when I woke up the next day, I didn't have that problem. It was really weird. But I remember seeing him and I remember going into the front room, but I know I was in my bed and I remember just going through that light and I was like, what the hell? I was having these dreams where I was seeing this spaceship coming up out the water and I couldn't
Wow.
understand why it was coming up, what it was trying to show me. I went inside, I remembered being on a bed and laying there and having lasers putting all down my body and then putting these screens up, looking at certain things to do with me. And I remember meeting my helper for the first time from that side, the Pleiadians. I am Pleiadian and Lyran connected. That's
Do
what
you
my
not
family
think a
are.
lot of
My
things
mother,
started to go wrong when you came back to Texas? Remember before you went to Texas you were being like took in things and you were doing like the meditations and things. Then you went to Texas and you came back and everything went strange. Do you think they were upset at you for going to Texas?
no,
No?
I don't think that they were
No, they don't
upset
work
for
that.
me going to
Yeah,
Texas. I
they don't
think they
work
were
that
upset
way.
for me for other reasons that I don't really wish to say on this channel.
All right, okay. Because I
I
know
think
everything
there's
kind of went
certain
dark
people.
after that, didn't it? Things
But
kind of shifted.
I had really good experiences in Texas. I even got pictures of UFOs on my phone in Texas. There was no problem in
Yeah.
Texas. It all started when I come back here and I continued in the place that I was in. That's when my troubles and everything started because I do feel that maybe they were picking up on things and they knew that something wasn't quite right. But I've had a lot of connections with them. I've got books full of pictures and stuff that I've seen where I've had words with them. I can speak in their language when they take me over. I've been in spaceships. I've been told that I am Pleiadian and Lyran and that I'm a high descendant in that area.
Yeah.
There's just lots of things, but I'm still going through that stage of learning about it because it's come quite later in my life. So I'm still trying to
Try
comprehend
to
that and
remember it
understand that,
all,
if you know
isn't
what
it?
I'm saying.
Yeah.
But there was a lot of stuff that's really negative that has happened recently. I do admit that there has been, but I don't think it's anything to do with Texas. I think it's just that I've been around the wrong energies and the wrong
Right,
people,
I
and
just
I
thought
don't
maybe
think
they
they
were
were being
upset at you
beneficial
for
to me.
going away. Yeah.
Well, no, because I always
So,
made it very aware to them that I was going to
Yeah,
do
and you
that, and I
came
was moving
back
there
and
anyway.
things.
So I
So
can't see why that would be an issue to them. They've never
true,
said it is.
true.
so Stephanie, how often do you see
So
the
I don't know.
UFO?
Me
Because
too,
we've
Sherry.
seen stuff around here, but how often do you see them there in Kentucky?
Quite a bit. A lot actually. Usually, if the sky is really clear, You can tell a satellite or a plane from.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, there's a difference.
Yeah. Oh yeah. There's a big.
there's a big difference.
And
Have you felt as if they're turning up a lot more for maybe say 5 years ago? Or do you feel as if there's more in the sky now?
I think so because when I was younger, and you would see lights occasionally and things like that. But it seems like now you see them more often.
As if they don't bother to hide themselves now, isn't that?
Yeah, it doesn't seem like they do. Actually the best one that I think we have seen was in Utah. A few
Right.
years ago, my daughter has had a liver transplant, and
Wow. Sorry to hear that.
she's an athlete, and she competes in what is basically the Olympics for transplant recipients. So
Right.
they had the games in Salt Lake City, and she, because of her immune system, isn't allowed to fly. So we drove from Kentucky to Salt Lake City. If you can imagine,
Right.
that was something. But when we crossed over into Utah, and we stayed at a hotel. We were in the desert area of Utah, the high plain plateau area there. And when we checked in to the hotel, it was just in this little town along the interstate. It wasn't anything, and it was kind of late in the evening, and all these people were. It had this little mom and pop restaurant connected to it, and there's people all in the parking lot, and some were going in to eat, and some were getting chairs out of their cars and putting them out into the parking lot. So we went to check, and of course, I was like, "What's going on?" And the guy says, "Well, Missy, do you believe in UFO?" And she's like, "Yeah, of course I do." You know. He says, "Well, it's going to be a clear night tonight, and if you really want to see something," he said, "go put your stuff in, wait till dark, and then come out here in the parking lot and stand and just look up."
Wow.
And we were like, okay. So we went out about 10 o'clock that night, and we were out there maybe 10 minutes and saw this big light. It was really bright, and it was kind of like pulsating. And then it starts to move across the sky to the right, and it stops. And it breaks up three, almost crying. And then it moves back to the left really quick, and it stops again, and it breaks into six.
Wow.
And then it glows really bright, and it shoots off almost to the north, I guess, and just disappears.
Wow. I think a few people seen that one big one split off into multiple.
Yeah, it was crazy. It was the craziest thing I had ever seen. And we were the only ones that were like, oh my gosh, because I mean,
But it shows that the locals are used to seeing it, doesn't it? It shows that the locals are aware that this happens all the time.
Yeah, they were all just kind of like, told you. You know?
Yeah, because you get used to it.
Yeah.
You get used to it.
Yeah, they were like, you'll see one if the sky's clear and there's any clouds.
You're breaking up again.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we've got storms coming in.
It's funny though. Every time I say you're breaking up again, immediately it clears up.
Oh, it's always when she's telling us something exciting. But stop it.
Somebody doesn't want it.
Yeah.
Stop
it, UFOs.
Playing with us. Stop it.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead and say that part again. It sounded interesting. We couldn't hear.
Yeah, they were just like, yeah, if the sky's clear and there's not any clouds, you can come out here any night and look up and you will see something. Guaranteed. And we went
I need to start looking up more at night because a lot of people spot things around here. I'll need to start looking up at night.
Yeah.
You know, that's just it. A lot of people don't look up. A lot of people are like tunnel vision and they never look up. Even when you're walking in the woods, Look
Yeah.
up, because you don't know what's up there waiting to pounce on you. That's
No.
laying across a big old
The
rim
only
or
thing I
something.
do is I think, right, the moon will be up there, and I look for where the moon's the brightest, and I usually spot pay homage to her, and then that's me. So I'll need to start standing out and pay homage to the moon, but
Mhm.
also look around for other things.
Mhm.
Yeah. Go
Yes.
out,
Yes.
look, and just get a chair and go out there and sit and just look. Just look up
Mhm.
and sit for a bit because it's a
And
Yeah,
smell. Smell everything you
yeah,
can smell. Make
yeah,
note of
yeah,
what you're smelling.
yeah,
yeah.
Mhm.
It's
yeah.
crazy, isn't it? It's out there, and you just people in the area always know it's there, but like see us over here in Scotland, it's like a. Don't get me wrong, people have, as Sherry said, spotted things in the woods. See, I don't believe that Scotland's kind of big enough, if you like. Our state parks and things aren't big enough areas to have anything substantial like that, I don't think. Maybe in England, yeah, but not in Scotland.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Well,
the stuff that connected to our house was it's it is a good sized state park.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
um
Probably size of Scotland.
not that it's pretty good size.
I do
Lake is
apologise. The phone's got a mind of its own.
the lake
that's all right.
is miles long, so it's a good. And then the park around it is huge. I think
Yeah,
from if you start at one entrance and go to the other, it's probably 10 to 12 miles altogether, and then that's just the road. So you have all the
If
out of it.
always people in the
yeah,
Appalachian Mountains, though. If you notice, well, not always, but most of the time, either they're dotted around the Appalachian Mountains that tell you about these things. So there's got to be something in it. If generation after generation
well, if you
around that
know,
area see things.
yeah, if you know park rangers like personally, they
Yeah,
can tell you a lot of stuff that goes on,
yeah,
but they're not just going to blab it out to everybody in the
Yeah,
universe
always a
because
job
that's their
probably.
job. That's well, not only is it their job, but think about it. If they know that there's a colony or a family, say of Bigfoot or whatever's out there, because there's a lot of other creatures out there too. But if
Yeah,
they gave that up, can you imagine all of the hunters and all the idiots that are all, trigger
exactly.
happy
Yeah,
and all that that's going to go over there and the first thing they're going to want to do is wipe everything out,
yeah. Oh
you
yeah, they
know.
would.
yeah.
Yeah, so they don't tell a lot of it for that very reason. And a
What to
lot of
keep
people
nice place.
disappear, like in Smoky
Mhm.
Mountains and all of that. People are always disappearing, but
I
you're not going to
know.
hear about it.
You think they're
But
going
you
through
don't hear about
portals?
most
You
of
think
them.
they're getting
Yeah,
eaten? Who knows? It's
Yeah,
you
crazy.
don't hear about a lot of them.
no,
Yeah.
and they will go. People will go missing, and well, the last time we saw them was here at this spot on the mountain.
Yeah, there's a lot.
There will not be a trace, and they're never found.
Hmm. I
Yeah,
just
Yep.
always keep getting back to that footage I seen on YouTube where the man had a trail cam on his back. Sorry, a GoPro on his back, and he had took the footage of the like a portal thing and this Bigfoot stepping out it and then the portal disappearing. So it makes you wonder if he was passing by that at that time, would he have get swallowed up? You know?
pro- probably, and that
Yeah.
may happens to some people. I think
Yeah.
Mhm.
just I because well, from my hometown in the past year and a half, I know there have been 8 to 10 people that have disappeared, and
Wow.
they found a couple of their bodies in the mountains, but far back in the mountains. But some of them, they
Just
there's no
found.
there's they
Wow.
they were last
Crazy.
that that's it. Like they haven't found a footprint, they haven't found a shoe, they haven't found anything, and dogs
It is
can't find them.
peculiar. It
Yeah,
is very strange.
it's people
Mhm.
disappear in those mountains
A
all
lot.
the time. That's
That's
not a
why, yeah,
go.
that's why
So
Lee gets mad at me when I go out by myself.
You
yeah,
stop going out yourself, lady.
yeah, yeah. That's not a place to just go out on your own just for a walk or a nature walk or anything like that. No, it's
Yeah.
not.
I've told her, Lee, okay.
Yeah, got to
Yeah,
stay
there's a
safe,
lot of
especially if you're near mountains and that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah. Well,
Poisonous
think
bugs
about
and
it.
things as well.
Oh yeah.
The thing is, these open dimensions and stuff where people go missing, it's all over the place. Like, you think about all of these times where there's been boats and aeroplanes and things just suddenly go
True.
vanishing out of thin air and never been found, like over the Bermuda Triangle and places like that. There's a lot
That's
of those
because
places
there's
everywhere.
Why can they
that's
accept it?
that's
Why
because
can
there's a pyramid under the water in the Bermuda Triangles why they're disappearing. But they're
yeah?
not saying that. They won't put that out. But there
But
is
it
a
shows you
pyramid
that they've
under
spoke
there.
about the Bermuda Triangle for years, and it's kind
Yeah,
of acceptable. So why can't they talk about everything else? You know, it's
Yeah.
crazy.
exactly. And it's not just that Bermuda Triangle, you know what I mean? There's loads of places
Yeah,
like that all over the world that people don't talk about, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
it's
Yeah.
Okay,
you know,
but just think about it. We're all level-headed. We know about the spiritual realm. We know about all of this stuff, the UFOs and Bigfoot and all of this. Okay, and yet we're calm. We think, we rationalize everything. We think, all of this. But just think about the people that freak out, will go nuts if they found out half of or a little bit of what we know.
True.
Society in itself would break down because they wouldn't know how to handle it.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
True.
definitely, yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's why they don't tell
Mhm.
anybody anything. They can't handle it.
When you speak to people about it, they just say, "Oh, don't be so silly," and "Oh, don't be daft," and you're like, "Yous are delusional. You think we're the delusional ones, but it's yous."
Some of them, yeah. I think some of them, yeah, probably would be that way. But there's a lot of people out there that just choose to keep it from us, even though they know it's the truth. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, there's lots of mixes of people. It's not just people
Yeah.
thinking, "Oh, I don't want to tell them," because they might get scared, they might freak out, which a lot of us would do if we don't have our sort of way of thinking. But there's a
Yeah.
lot of people that know that that's real and they don't want that to get out because it'll contradict everything they've ever said to us.
Exactly.
Okay, so that's why you're only seeing
Especially with the
splits and
book.
splabs of things coming
Especially with
out
that.
because they've got to be careful what they give you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
People will
but
be
that's why
pulling
there's
their
people
money
like
out of
us to
banks and
wake you
everything.
up.
Hmm
What's
Yeah.
this? What did
So,
you say,
have you
Mr.
had? I was gonna ask Stephanie. Have you had any of your own personal animals disappear?
Oh, a
And
lot.
what were they?
Um,
Well,
we had cats and my dad raised beagles for years, AKC registered beagles, and he would find some missing occasionally. Um, my grandfather had actually he always raised a humongous garden every year up until he died, and in the fall he would be missing crops out of the garden,
well,
corn for some, and I'm not talking like, I don't mean just like stalk and all would be gone.
right.
Like it was like something had just ripped it completely up out of the ground and just carried the whole thing off, and it would
Mm-hmm.
be bunches at a time.
Right.
Yeah.
That becomes stocking up for winter and things, probably, isn't it? Doing
Probably.
things like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you just think squirrels, they get nuts and they hide them for the winter. So why wouldn't other big creatures like that stock up food for the winter?
Right. Well,
Exactly. If you're going to be hibernating, you're not going to go out anywhere, are you? So you're going to get everything beforehand.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, you don't want to
Yeah.
risk getting caught and being in and.
And you say that animals went missing and stuff. Like, have you ever noticed? Have you ever noticed anything around your place where there's been strange killings of animals? Like, there's been strange markings on them, like
Mutilations and things.
Oh,
mutilations and things like that.
yeah. Not necessarily mutilations. My uncle actually, he told me a story years ago of when he was little. Because he lived up, I know, Mystical know, we have our hollers, and he lived up in the head of a holler.
Right.
At the very end of it, past where he lived, was a old man who had a humongous farm, and he started having goats go missing. And after like the third one, they would find the carcasses, and they would just be completely disemboweled, but no blood.
Oh.
He's like, no blood anywhere. And so after the third one, a lot of the guys that lived around there had decided, well, they're going to go hunt whatever this was.
Yeah.
And they, well, they called it the, let me think of what he called it. It was they called it the Beaver Creek Monster because he lived on what was called Beaver Creek, is what
Right.
they called it. And he was like, he was younger. He was maybe 8 or 9, and him and some of his friends wanted to go too, but the men in the group were, no, you're too young. So they snuck and hid in the barn, up in the hayloft of the barn. And he said they heard that night something. He was like, it was a sound I've never, wasn't really like a roar, but it wasn't like a scream. He was like, it's just a sound. I've never heard another sound like it.
Mm-hmm.
And then they heard the goats, go crazy. And the goats were actually inside the barn. Whatever this was came into the barn. Actually
Right.
opened the door and came into the barn. And took a goat. They were up in the hayloft. And he was like, we were all too scared to even look down
You look down.
what it was. Yeah, he was like, because we thought it was just nothing. And
Right.
we were even look down and see what it was. Was it a Bigfoot? I think it kind of just from what he said, I think it was.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like when you say like the animal was drained of blood, but there was no sign of the blood and things like that. That does sound very alien, because there have been things known where extraterrestrials and their flying saucers will actually affect certain animals. There was this thing that I watched on the the ranch that's dedicated to
Walker's Ranch.
all of that. And
Yeah.
there was actually physical bits where they show where there was this young calf like running around, and she was all happy, and then the next minute she started acting really weird. You
Oh,
can
under
actually
the
see
tree.
the layout to the video on where she started to react really weird to something, doing something to her, and you could see the
right.
craft above the trees
right.
affecting
She's
the animal. And then later when they went back, she had all these strange markings in her body, her eyes, her tongue, everything was missing.
Mm-hmm.
It was
Crazy.
alien.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
seen that episode
Yeah.
on that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm really big on Skinwalker Ranch. If you was allowed to go on Skinwalker Ranch, I think I would. I don't think I wouldn't be disrespectful on it, and I think I would be weary, but it would be a place that I would like to go to. It's just so amazing for everything, not just UFOs, but paranormal as well.
I know.
It's
I think
amazing.
the full farm's on some sort of big ley line or something, or some sort of portal.
I do believe they're living on that land. I believe that area that they've got where the hump is, that is actually the mass, which is that area. I believe there is a UFO under there. They've done
Well, they
experiments.
do believe that there's something in the sky, don't they? They think there's something in the sky so far up.
There is a vortex.
There's something under the ground so
there
far
was a
down.
rocket experiment that they done where the rocket went up in the air and you see it hit off something that you can't even see.
That's
And
right.
and
all the software fails. It's a crazy place.
Software fails. Any experiments they've done don't work. People
It's
have got
funny how all across America, though, it's quite UFO-y, isn't it? I mean, there's not really one place in America that's not.
I do think that UFO is one of the big hotspots for UFO activity, definitely. I do think so.
And mountains as well. They do say that they can go right through the mountain, don't they? In some sort of... It's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's definitely there, guys.
Stephanie, have you ever seen a spirit?
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yes. Yes. I have actually my life.
See, as soon as she starts to tell us, it goes out. What
Stop it.
And I'm actually the best one because my husband is like everything. Really, it's not his thing at all. But we were dating, and we had gone to visit my dad. My dad had moved back in with his parents, my grandparents, when they got older. And he took care of them. My grandmother was the last one Wait, I still live. Well, he had, he was, I didn't know he was gone, but we went to visit him. We were sitting in his driveway. Again, they lived up in the head of a holler. There was nothing on the other side. They were the very last house. It was hillside all around. And he had said, well, I'll be back in just a little bit. Just wait here on me. So, and actually, where the house was, the hillside there, right in behind their house, is actually the top of that hill is where he's buried and where our family cemetery is. So, and my grandparents were buried up there then. And my dad would always say, oh, yeah, Mom and Dad are still here. I see them in the house all the time, or they come to visit sometimes at night, or I'll hear them talk, or, things like that. Mm-hmm. And so it was about dark. We were sitting there. It was summer. So we had got out of the car, and we were just kind of sitting on the hood of the car, and we were looking up at the stars and looking. And of course, I was looking to see if I could see anything in the sky or anything. And all of a sudden, he reaches out, and he, grabs my arm. And he says, do you see that? And I was looking up, and he's looking at the hillside. So down the hillside from the cemetery comes this huge ball of white light down the hill. It was almost pulsating. It was so bright. And it was perfectly round. It was about the size of maybe a basketball. Maybe a little bit bigger than a basketball. But it wasn't projecting any kind of shadows on the ground. It wasn't projecting any kind of light, onto the ground or the trees or anything around it. It was just, the light was just coming from, within it.
It's like an energy.
Yeah.
And it moves down.
Yeah. Orb. It sounds like an orb.
It was probably the biggest I've ever seen. It was huge. Moves down.
You can get some very big ones.
Yeah. And it stopped maybe 3 foot in front of us. And my grandmother, before she passed away, she'd been in a wheelchair, so they had built a ramp on the outside of the porch to get her in and out of the house with the wheelchair.
Right.
It turns and goes halfway up the ramp to where her bedroom window was. Stops again, gets really, really bright, and goes through the wall under the window and disappears.
Wow.
We're just standing there looking at it. It didn't scare me. I really believe it was her. I had this really warm feeling, like a hug. Kind of.
Yeah.
And I was just in awe, and I'm just standing here looking at it, and all of a sudden, he's by the shoulders. He's like, get in the car, lock the door, what are you doing? And I just remember looking at him and turning around looking at him and saying, get in the car, lock the door. Did you just not see that go through the wall? What's locking the door of a
Yeah, I think that's everybody's natural instinct, though, isn't it, to run and hide in something. They don't excuse me, there's no point running, hiding in any bush or any cupboard, because it'll just go through it to you.
The wall. So he was like, well, I don't know. It just sounded good at the time. So and then minutes later, we were telling him, oh yeah, oh yeah, that was probably your grandparent. He was like, I've seen.
Was that your grand?
Yeah.
More than one. So even to this day, he calls it the thing that we don't talk about.
The thing not to mention.
Yeah, you don't talk about it, but tell it on YouTube so the whole world can listen.
Well, they do say there's times and places where it's okay to do it, and these places are.
Being the good
one to make you feel better. Spill your guts.
Being the I will just occasionally get in the car, lock the door, and he'll be like, shut up.
I'm afraid you won't hear that phrase from any of us. Run and get in the car and hide yourself.
Stop the car, open the door.
Just embrace it.
Yeah.
And if I do get him to talk about it, very rare, he'll say, it just surprised me that you went, because I was actually just terrified.
Right.
And fear was not a thing that I felt. I felt love and just in awe of watching it, but I never once felt fear. And
Yeah.
my dad came home and he was like, no, we're leaving, and he wouldn't stay. He wouldn't. He
Well,
Do you think if it's one of
he's
your
obviously
own
scared.
family members, you instantly feel calm? You know?
Yeah,
Yeah. He's
I
obviously scared of the other side. And that's what it is.
Yeah.
yeah. He just doesn't. No, he's like, that's your thing. That's fine. But anything, when I told him I was coming on here, he said, "Are you talking about the thing we don't talk about?" I was like, "Asked."
Everything you don't want to talk about.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
was like,
Not just the
Oh,
one
bless
thing.
him.
That's like my Stephanie. That's like my husband. He'll back me up 100% whatever I want to do, but he will not go to. He's my driver to take me to an investigation, but he
yeah,
stays in the van because he's my van security and he watches the devices. They're all
absolutely.
safe. Me and my team goes out. He'll stay right there, but he
Yeah,
says if something is chasing y'all like a spirit, and y'all, I see y'all running over here, I'm locking the door because
Getting off.
nothing's getting in here. I'm like, well, you don't lock the door till we get in. He goes, if I see y'all running, I'm locking the door.
oh,
I was like, oh
Oh,
Lord
yeah.
have
He's
It's
mercy.
funny
probably
as
take
well,
him
Lee.
all his time not to start the engine and go.
he's very and these things and is pretty clairvoyant. I want to say she can actually communicate some.
Right.
And a couple years ago for her birthday, like we live close to Waverly Hills. We live
Oh.
like maybe 45 minutes or so from Waverly Hills. So we haven't gone there yet. That's been on her bucket list. But
Yeah,
she
I
wants
want to go there, but I don't want to pay, and they charge out the butt for that.
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
yeah. I
she
think it's
wanted
closed down just now anyway.
yeah she wanted to go to Trans Allegheny Lunatic Asylum in West
Right.
Virginia, and so we did. And they have all different kinds of tours and things. They don't just do ghost tours. They have a little bit of everything. And
Right.
they
History
have
tour things.
they have all kinds of history tours and medical history tours and just different things. But
Right.
she go do the ghost tour. So her dad was like, "Oh, I will drive you. Don't
But I'm not going in.
on it." So we went. Her birthday is in June, and it was probably one of the hottest West Virginia, Kentucky summers that
Imagine.
ever was. The ghost tour, and I mean, it was very active that day. We had a lot of stuff go on that day. It was like middle of the day, 100 degrees, no air conditioning. There's no electric in that building.
Mhm.
And it was extremely active. But he sat outside. He wouldn't even go in the building. He sat outside for 3 hours in the heat.
Oh.
Dang.
Oh, wow.
The only spot at the time that had electric in that building was the administration office where you buy the tickets.
Right.
And that is where the restroom and the gift shop and everything was.
Yeah.
He didn't even go in there to use the restroom. He went down.
He's probably more chance of seeing a spirit up in the bushes than in the
It is
actual.
all the time.
I know a lot of spirits like to be in the bathrooms for some reason.
Mhm.
Red
Oh, they
Roof.
do, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, you find a lot of them in the bathrooms.
We were,
And-
I guess he said we'd been gone for maybe an hour and a half, and he was like, I had to go to the restroom, but I just got in the car and went down the street to the gas station. I said,
Was he risking it?
Bless him. But if there's
Bless
that
his
fear there,
heart.
then you
Yeah.
would, wouldn't you? You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
yeah.
uh,
they're really not that bad, guys. Seriously. Like, I know that they're
Yeah,
different.
you're good
They're
ones.
not that bad. Don't sunburn
We
yourself.
were out today. Did you see?
Oh my
We
God.
were out today, Chris and I, at the cemetery here in West Mahago, and Mystical and things have spotted little. What are they? Trolls?
they're look to my like to me like little creatures.
They're
But
little
you see
creatures.
their arms.
Did you
They're
see the
sitting like
video?
sitting down. Yeah, sitting down. You see their legs. but it's almost like they're sitting down on something, but there's nothing there.
I
But they're
know.
sitting down like if they were sitting on a rock or a log or something. But it's not
They're
there.
weird
But you see
looking.
the legs hanging over, and you
Yeah, they're weird.
completely see the face, and the arms is
Yeah.
out.
They're like
Yeah, and
little
then the one,
trolls.
yeah, and then the one that I marked that's in the road. Y'all were going down the road, and it's the spirit was right there. You could see the spirit there, and then y'all turned off onto the other road. I was like, dang,
Right.
they didn't get closer, but you turned off, but you
Wow.
could see it where y'all were going straight.
See,
I'm
our
gonna
purpose of going
Yeah.
there was to do the war graves, and it was funny because we managed the trail that we took, we did actually get every single war grave. So obviously, unconsciously, the spirits were guiding us to every war grave because it's
Hmm.
funny how we did catch them all.
Yeah.
Hmm.
gonna have to go back and look
Yeah,
because
and
when you
that
guys
yeah,
were
The
that
good
was
laughing,
like
idea.
yeah,
I
that was like
usually
53 seconds in when I spotted that one. Boom,
oh
53 seconds.
I usually end up reading the headstones more so than
Yeah,
I'm thinking what's
Well, that's what
around
Drew,
you.
yeah, Drew and Chris, they like to read the headstones and stuff.
Yeah,
The
I
rest
yeah,
of
usually
we
us,
try and read
the
a
rest
couple
of
of.
us, yeah, they're reading the headstones out loud, but we're
yeah.
like, our eyes are like geared toward the background and scanning. Oh, there's one,
Yeah.
there's one.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it's funny when you watch it because like they go to some really good places and stuff. Like Sister Mystical said, like yeah, we listen to what they're saying, but we're too busy trying to scan them
Try to
out,
find the
like,
spirits.
see anything moving around or anything. You
Yeah.
know?
It was a
Yeah,
video we did today and put it out as a premiere.
Yeah,
yeah, and and the thing is I
can't
can
wait to see
never
that.
make the ones in the morning that they do because I'm always I have this whole morning routine I have to do.
Yeah.
So I always just watch the replay, and I'm thinking if there's ever anything there that's gonna jump out, and I yell duck, 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 duck. Nobody's
We'll
gonna
not
duck
hear you.
because it's a replay.
Already happened.
Duck.
Um,
Too late. It's a replay. They're going.
I've had that where we're doing certain things and people in the chats are saying that shit. Oh, Sherry, be careful. And it's like, look, guys, this was done like 2 weeks ago. Like this, don't
It's
worry,
a
we sorted it.
replay,
And they're like,
sorry.
oh, we thought it was a lie. It's like,
Keep
no,
watching and you'll see me get
you
attacked.
know.
Yeah. Phoenix says,
Oh,
Sis Rochelle, that's where the little guy that I found is at. On the same road where I seen that
Yeah,
shadow at,
Phoenix
when I
spotted it
marked
as
it.
well. The two of you spotted it. The two of you
Yeah.
spotted the exact same little troll thing.
Yeah, the other day when y'all had one on too, I can't remember what it was. For like several of them, me and Phoenix was catching them right in the exact same spots we were both
Yeah,
uh,
yeah, you're
seeing
spot
them.
on. Yeah, crazy.
But that's what I'm
Yeah,
going to
but
try and do. Like, go out. I'm going down to that church that I was told to go to by the spirits and that because
Yeah, definitely go.
when he was live and that they told him that they wanted me to go back to the church where the elemental is. Yeah, my water elemental is up there. So yeah, I'm going to go back up
yeah,
there and
The
do it.
thing is, see, once you go back out once, you'll want to go back out all the time. It's
Yeah, and I
just to
think that's
get
what they're
you
trying to
back
do.
out.
They're trying to entice me into doing it because they know once I do it, I'll become addicted again, going
Yeah,
out,
it's
and I
just
won't be
to
able to
getting
stop.
back
So
out again.
yeah,
hmm
I
Thank
love
you,
it. I'll be going
Weird
every
World.
day. Thank you,
Weird
Weird
World.
World.
thank you.
That's a mouthful. He like puts all our stuff on there, our links. God
Your
Almighty,
link
spit it
and
out,
everything.
Rochelle. Our links on there. Thank you, and we really do appreciate it. Sometimes my
He's
brain
a
gets
good
to
lad.
working and my mouth
Good
can't
lad.
keep up.
Yeah. Debbie's good at doing it as well. Diabolical Debbie
Oh yeah.
shares all the links.
There's actually quite a lot of our guys in our chats that are really good at making sure that the links and things are out. They've got a really good community here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
And then Phoenix
Sis
says the
Sherry,
same thing
when
to
you
you,
go,
Sherry.
pan slowly. Don't need to tell me to pan slowly, sis. You should know
Yeah.
me by now. I don't go too
Yeah,
quick.
Cheryl
I
Steele.
like to make sure I get every single little inch of what I'm doing.
Okay, first,
So I'll do
Yeah,
extra
because
slow for
yeah,
you.
cause
And slow.
Cause Sherry, yeah, cause Sherry not only can see him either, she can feel him too. So if she feels
Yeah, she'll
something,
sense
she's
them.
gonna freeze it there for a second and see if she picks
Yeah, and that's what I
anything up
do.
before she
Because
venses.
I do Snap Happy as well, like where you do the snap pictures. I do it like going round because I can when I see them, and same with my camera. I could be standing there and doing just
She
one
says, "I
area, and I'll
know."
see something, and I turn it to where that spirit is. It's like, yeah, there's something over here.
It's
Try not to go too
EVPs I'll need
fast.
to start remembering to do on the recorder. I always forget to try and do an EVP. I need to try and remember.
I always do my EVPs.
Yeah.
That's like my number one thing, and my spirit boxes definitely. But my
Yeah,
I've got some really interesting EVPs from that church, so I'm definitely doing that. Definitely.
yeah.
Yeah, I have to remember when I go back out to tell my team to go move, just move slowly. One of them, I think, because there's just gonna two of them that's gonna show up, I believe, and so I think one of the cameras we're gonna try to set it up at the tunnel, like at the beginning. We gotta
Yeah.
watch too for traffic coming through, but we'll set it up where Lee's out in the van and he can keep an eye on it. If traffic's coming, he can move it over, and then just
Mhm.
have it just continuously recording while the other one is actually in the tunnel with me, recording while I do my other stuff. And the one that runs the
Yeah, it worked out
ALS,
quite good.
she's
I would
gonna
have been
go.
wanting to definitely set a camera up. I think that'll be interesting. Because
Yeah,
look at
the
we all
one
Sister
that
talked about
Drew's
balance.
camera keys going on and
what?
What is it?
Sorry.
I'm saying
Broke
Sister
up.
Drew's camera keeps going on and off. It keeps going black
Oh,
screen, then coming
probably.
back, black screen, coming back.
Oh, I don't see it. I think she's there. I hadn't noticed. Had you noticed, Stephanie?
But
No, I,
Weird,
that's
random.
how I feel. I feel spirits. Then I see them. I think it's good when you've got abilities because you can kind of
I
pan
would
out where
love
you
to
want to have
do
a
a
look.
Yeah.
room. I want to try
I
and
can,
definitely do an inside investigation sometime, like even if it's just a room, like when they were at the abandoned mansion, and set up
Yeah,
some equipment and see what you can all catch, and do the Estes method and things. I'd love to start doing things like that.
yeah, I mean, it's. So
What are you
have you done
saying?
any investigations, Stephanie?
I have done a couple. And had some really, yeah, really good. Actually, when we were at Trans Allegheny, we did one there because we did they called it the extended experience, and they had their own EMF detectors things that they give you, and you could take them. So, like after, like when they would take you to the different floors and things,
We've all
She's
moved.
playing.
yeah. She needs to get
it,
back up. It's
Well,
swapped.
co-host has to be up there, and my guest has to be there, and my special guest has to be there. So
We're
I'm
playing
confused.
magical stars.
I think sometimes Drew
Oh
does
dear.
that on purpose. One time we did it like several
I've
times
no
in the middle of
sound.
the show. You don't
so
hear us?
yeah, I
We
can hear you.
you.
Can you hear me?
Hello.
Hello.
I can hear you two,
Drew.
and I can't hear Sister Drew.
There she goes again for us to play musical chairs.
That's what I was saying. Her camera was playing up, going in and out, and then it went all glitchy, and then it all
Oh.
swapped round, and she can't hear it now.
Well, see, you saw it, but we weren't. Me and Stephanie wasn't seeing it. It wasn't happening on our.
Yeah.
On
I
our.
Yeah,
didn't.
no, well, it was showing it to me because it was going in, out, and then you'd see her like with like weird faces where she's talking, like it'd stop at certain. It's like, oh my god, like what the hell?
You always wonder when we freeze if we're making some really stupid looking face, and then it freezes for a while, and then we're like, oh crap. It's like the Brady Bunch opening scene. Diane says.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Poor
She's trying to
sis.
come back.
She'll be
Drew's
back in a
trying
minute,
to come
hopefully.
back.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see.
Come on, spirits, keep the energy away. Let her back in.
I had
Can you hear
no
us now?
sound. I had no sound, so I had to
Yeah,
leave
we
and
can
come
hear you
back
now.
in.
Are
Can
you
you hear
good
us?
now? Can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear yous now. I can hear yous now.
Okay.
I don't know what happened.
Yeah, like that's what I was saying. You was glitching in and out, and then I see the whole box just move round. All of the screens all changed, and then you just couldn't hear anyone or
But
anything. I couldn't
remember
hear
I
you.
said I was doing a crossing at 1 o'clock. It's now 12:30. So the
They're
spirits will all be
affecting you.
starting
'Cause
to
if you
come
think
in for
it's
them get cross.
it's 12:28 now, so it's half an hour's time that you're doing it. That's probably why they're like, "Come on, nearly time."
I know,
Yeah.
that's exactly what
Well,
they're doing.
we can go ahead and end it. We can go ahead and end it here. And Stephanie, would you like to come join us again another time on the channel? We would love to have
Yeah,
you back.
yeah, I had
And then
fun.
That'd be
we can
awesome.
catch more of what you've got to say
No
before
different
Drew
than
starts
what
playing musical
spirits
chairs
do.
again.
Okay, that sounds good.
All right, so oh, let me see here. What in weird world? Notice something when you work with the spirits, even that I'm not in your space. The energy is so high. Let me see. The energy is so high. The first day I couldn't stop moving. Haven't any of you experienced that? Yeah, we get real jittery and
Yeah.
stuff when we get a lot of
Oh yeah,
energy. Yeah,
and we can
yeah,
make a
that's
lot
pretty
of
much.
mad stuff happen as well when we do certain things as well. So don't
Yes.
worry, we
I usually
understand
have to sit
fully.
with Kristen.
Yeah. So, with everybody, we thank you all for coming in, and anybody watches the replay, thank you for coming and watching the replay. We're going to let everybody go because Drew has a crossover to do, right? That's what you're
Yeah, half
saying?
an hour.
Okay.
I think
Yeah,
that's why I'm
and
glitching.
okay, and we
Yeah,
thank Sherry
yeah.
for coming in. We thank Stephanie for coming in, and my co-host Drew. I don't do nothing without my co-host. She better not ever study stuff, or there won't be no show.
Oh dear. I'll be here, guys. I'll be here.
All right, so I'm gonna end it here, and Stephanie, stay there so we can at least say hi to you, bye to you behind stage. So we're
Okay.
gonna hit end,
Bye,
end.
everybody.
Love and light.